Hey, this week's video, we're going to share some about a deer hunting adventure that we had and how not to hunt deer. We hope you enjoy it. So we would be hunting on public land. We had been here several times before in other seasons and for other reasons. And we had also scouted out several areas on this public land where we could hunt deer at. So we knew it decently well. And we had noticed this field that had a pond beside it. And that field always has a lot of deer activity. There's a lot of deer sign there. It's a food plot. The only problem with it is it's fairly easy to access. It's very easily accessible from where you would park at. You don't walk very far until you come to this field. And we thought, well, probably it's November, it's in the 40s, and as cold as it was and everything, we probably wouldn't have any trouble with anybody trying to fish in the pond. Might have some issues with crowding with other hunters. And but nobody was there when we got there. We were there first, so we set up on the edge of the woods where the woods met the field, and yeah, we set up there and thought we'd see what happens. Boredom is set in. Fall asleep once in a while. Wake up to every little sound you hear. Look around, wonder, is that a deer or is that something else? We heard something over here in the brush, the edge of the woods. Everybody got real quiet and real serious. Thought it was a squirrel.
It was a squirrel. Yeah, it was a squirrel.
Most certainly. Maybe it was a deer squirrel. You think there's a deer squirrel? They got little antlers, little.
That is not true.
That is not true. What? You don't believe in deer squirrel?
There is no such thing.
The jackalope.
That's what it is. It's a jackalope. I'm surprised how many people's here today. There's been a lot of people. There's been people coming down this trail that we walked in on. It's like a little gravel road, like an old driveway. It's an access for some oil tanks that are along through here. I'm surprised how many people are showing up this morning. And wouldn't you know it, just a few hours after we got set up, we're sitting there waiting in our deer blind. And these people come up. It's a couple, a younger couple, and they must not have been very experienced or what, I don't really know, but they came up to the area where we were. They saw our blind. They looked at the blind, pointed at it. They were talking and pointing and looking, and then they decided to get off of the path, cross through the field over to the pond, and they started fishing. And it actually would have been very dangerous because they were right in the line of fire. That would be very dangerous, except for the fact that there wasn't any deer going to show up now that these people were hanging out at the edge of this pond. So unfortunately, like it or not, at this point we felt like our hunt is basically over, because with them hanging out there, nothing was coming. They didn't show any sign of leaving or moving on. They were just having a good old time and didn't seem to really care what we were doing. And it's really hard to know what to say in those kind of situations, but we decided, we've been there a few hours already and it's not really worth it. Let's just pack it in and try it another day. Well, maybe we'll come back on another day. We packed it in for today. Today's hunt will be over. This is public land. And yeah, we were hunting, and this couple comes up. I mean, they could see us. They stopped and looking at our blind and everything. And they just started fishing right in the line of fire. The thing about public land, though, is when you get on it, and people who don't really respect what other people are doing or whatever, and just get in the line of fire like that, I mean, totally screw up a hunt. We're gonna head out, give it a try another day. So that was that, and it would be a while before we got an opportunity to go back out again. For me, things were crazy busy at work, and I didn't really have extra time to do much of anything. But eventually, I did have some time that I could leave a little early, and I got the boys, and we went out for our second attempt. But this time, once we got there, we walked way back in. We walked way back into another field where nobody else was going to be. There shouldn't have been any hunting pressure from other hunters. So that's what we did. We went way back in, much further than we'd had on our first trip. Well, on the second trip, we really only had a couple hours to hunt, and that time had came and gone, and so it was over, and we packed up and started leaving. And here was a situation that we had noticed before. As we were leaving, we could see off in the distance in another field, we could see deer feeding in the distance, and we noticed that, and we decided that the next time we come out, we want to try that field instead, because we had noticed it this evening as we were leaving, and we had noticed it on prior occasions when we went scouting in the area and just being there in general. Not sure if this is going to turn out on the horizon. Right there behind that tree, silhouette of two deer grazing on the top of that hill over there. So it was about a week later that we finally got the opportunity to go again for the third time. And once we got there and set up on the edge of this new field, we didn't have to wait long that evening before the deer started showing up. The deer came out, and it was just about sundown, and we have 30 minutes after sundown that we can legally hunt. Well, it's another day, and we're in the hunting blind trying for some deer again. One thing we've noticed, we've been hunting this place as well as we came out to just kind of scope things out. Anyway, we noticed that the deer are feeding in the evening in this one particular field. So we have our blind set up right on the edge of that field, and we're usually seeing them just before dark. You know, just, it's still legal light, but about that time they've been coming out. So we're set up over here, and we're hoping that we don't spook them having our blind up. We've got some like bushes near us, and we're hoping that we blend in with those well enough. Unfortunately, on this trip, those deer were too far away, and there was no way that I could hit them with my crossbow. So all we could really do was just watch them till the sun went down, and that was the end of the third trip. So it was a week later, we got another opportunity to go out, and we took it. All right, it's another day, and we're out here in the afternoon, gonna try it again. All right, just gotta put the blind up. There's some bushes along here. We're between those. Yeah, we're hoping this thing just kind of blends in with the bushes here. So we've been out to this place a couple times, and this field, there's not any real hunting pressure here right now. We've noticed a lot of deer around sundown coming into this area, to this field where we're at right now. And anyway, they're grazing. It's about sundown when they do it. So we're setting up here this afternoon, and we're going to be in place for when they do come out. Hopefully we'll get one. And we were there for maybe an hour or so, and the sun started setting, the deer came out, and once again we had 30 minutes to hunt. In this shot of the field, the deer are barely even visible on the camera. They're definitely out of range for my crossbow, so we just waited until they got a little closer. In our last few minutes of legal shooting, a couple deer had moved just barely within range, so I prepared to take the shot, aiming for the heart area. Unfortunately, the bolt passed just under the deer. It looked like it grazed the underside of the deer, and then it hit the ground just beyond. The deer all took off. They ran a short distance, and then they stopped, turned around, looked in our area, and then they looked at us, toward us, and then they took off again. This time didn't stop at all. And we could see where the bolt was. It was in the ground, no sign of blood. It was just a complete miss. So that hunt was over, and yeah, we just packed up our things and went home. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Even though we didn't get anything, we had this footage and decided we're going to share it anyways. That's the way hunting is. Sometimes you get something, sometimes you don't, and life just gets in the way at times. Sometimes we're just too busy to get out. We can only go a few times, and that's the way it ends up. Well, if you've enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends and hit that like button if you haven't done so already. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We put out new videos every week, every Friday morning. And if you'd like to receive notifications when we do upload the next video, hit that notification bell. And check out our channel. We have several videos just like this one or very similar. We do various things including hiking, biking, boating, fishing, builds of various kinds, mostly outdoor activities. Some homesteading is thrown in there as well. This channel is for the experience. We do these things for the experience of doing them and to show others how you can do it too. We try to be fun and entertaining while being educational all at the same time. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one.